I've covered a lot of different MMOs that are upcoming on this channel, some with nebulous release dates, but I've never covered one that's actually probably going to be launching very shortly after this video, or depending on when you're watching it, it may already be out. But that's what we're talking about today, with an interesting 2D MMO that has a little bit of Ultima Online, a little bit of Adventure Quest, and maybe a little bit of Ashes of Creation. We're talking about an MMO that I just learned about called Ravensdawn Online. And this game is just too easy. Huh? Wait. No? Oh, no. Run, flee! Ravendawn Online is a 2D MMORPG from Tavern Light Games. Tavern Light was founded in 2015 with 60 developers. Ravendawn, their MMORPG, has been in development since 2016. It's a fully open world sandbox MMO that is putting player customization and choice at the forefront. The very first thing they talk about on their website, after all, is all about their open world house building system, followed next by their character customization and character classes. Like I was saying, it's kind of like if you took Ultima Online, maybe, but then threw in a little bit of Stardew Valley. Really, speaking of Ultima Online, this menu music, it really kind of brings back a little bit of the Stones vibes, doesn't it? You know, I don't think I'm ever gonna get away from any kind of top-down MMO to Ultima Online. And part of that's because of it being my first MMO and what kind of set the standard for MMOs for me of this kind. But how does this game compare to Ultima Online? Well, for starters, you can kind of make your own class. There are currently 7 different archetypes in the game, but that's not all. Ravendawn allows you to customize your character by mixing and matching from 3 different archetypes together to create a new class. For example, taking skills from Protection, Shadow, and Warfare creates the Dark Knight. You get this pretty damn early in the game too. I was able to choose my second archetype within just a couple hours of playing. It looks a little bit like if you took WoW's talent trees and created your own class from their own different archetypes, but even further to really allow what I can only hope will be some awesome and fun customization. Something that, yeah, I cannot help but imagine, but like think of like how Ashes of Creation technically has like 64 freaking classes by combining different archetypes. The connections to Ashes of Creation, there's a couple more of them. But this part of Ravensdawn Online is what intrigued me most, the character customization. The downside, of course, being the usual with any MMOs that allow customization like this. You will have min-max builds, something that takes greater importance when you have open PvP. In Ravendawn Online, they will use an Infamy system. Basically, the player kill system from Ultima Online where the killing innocent player results in some kind of negative thing. In this case, gaining infamy. There's kind of a strange side note here as they note that if a large group of players kill an innocent, they receive minor amounts of infamy. And only the last blow receives the full 100 infamy, which kind of seems odd. Like it seems like already there are many ways to game that system. Moving on. Murder status only persists for 15 minutes after you have murdered the innocent player, or 5 minutes for those who helped but didn't get the killing blow. The murder status doesn't seem like the deterrent though. Rather, it's stacking of infamy, which has increasing negatives. Kinda something like what you're gonna see in Ashes of Creation with their system. So perhaps this might be a good way to see a little bit of how something like this works as a deterrent. For 1,000 infamy, you will do 20% less damage to innocent players. 2,000 infamy, 30% less damage to innocent players. 2,500 infamy, you cannot create Tradepacks. 3,000 infamy, 40% less damage, and finally, 4,000 infamy, you get 50% less damage to innocent players. Now, granted, the negatives here all seem to be very focused on just preventing you from engaging in more PvP against players that maybe don't want to be PvP'd. But and perhaps something that they'll add later is things that will actually like negatively impact the player, like making it more difficult to trade with vendors and things like that. Because they already are doing the trade pack which is a big way in how you make money in Ravensdawn Online, from what I understand. Tradepacks seem a lot like Caravans from Ashes of Creation. But Ravensdawn Online isn't done there with their whole PvP system, as they're doing something a little bit interesting. Each zone in Ravensdawn will have a status: a peace zone, a conflict zone, and war zones. That's not unusual, and you have that in Albion Online, but these will be applied semi-randomly and will change with time. Peace zones, there's no PvP. Conflict zones, murder can occur, and when enough conflict occurs, in a conflict zone, it can turn into a war zone. And from what I could tell in the brief time I was in game, these change pretty quickly. And some of them, like I was in a peace zone that was quickly changing into a conflict zone that was quite literally the zone right outside of the major city where you started. It sounds like this is a tweak on some of the old systems of MMOs, and it might work to kind of, at least in some ways, allow players to have some sort of autonomy on when and how they wish to engage with PvP, while also creating the kind of danger and the excitement that so many players crave with open world PvP. Maybe in some ways this can serve as a playtest for Ashes of Creation's PvP. Speaking of Ashes of Creation, the game will also use a sort of caravan system called Tradepacks. They can be ambushed, and this is a big part of the PvP, as the trade packs are a major source of money in the game. This joins an expansive list of other features like open world guild vs guild war, ship combat and sea travel, producing resources and earning with customizable land, fishing. I had to throw in fishing, right? That's an important thing. A dynamic political system. But this is where the comparisons to older MMOs like Ultima Online and perhaps eventually Ashes of Creation end. Playing for a few hours, some things became clear. Leveling, growing, and fighting in this game are, well, easy, at least early on. It'll be interesting to see how things evolve toward endgame, but it feels disturbingly easy to start. I mean, hell, there were people just standing around AFK taking hits from like ratmen, and nothing was happening to them. But there was some intrigue. The quests were at least interesting. The very first quest outside of the little tutorial area subverts expectations and has you side with goblins, even as the usual quest NPC tries to convince you to get rid of them.
Head to toe covered in cobwebs. If that's not evidence of clearing out a basement, I don't know what is. I told you the infestation was bad, didn't I? No matter what, the Raven Guard are stingy with silver. They didn't give us very much. Tell you what. Oh, agreed. That's why I always do the right. Yeah. Would you mind just seeing if you can get them to leave? They're making everyone uneasy. That's all I'm asking. Thank you. I only wish...
Something that ties into a little reputation system that they kind of give you a couple hints on, that the decisions you make change your reputation. Something that I haven't really seen done in that many MMOs. There's factions all over, but the whole like questions and how that changes things. I think like Star Wars: The Old Republic had the whole light side, dark side thing, and it kind of worked. So maybe this will be like an advancement on that, because I believe I saw 4 different things that you could do, and I want to see how extensive the reputation is in this game. But we got to get to the biggest hurdle for players, and it's not just the graphics, although I know a lot of you may be concerned about that. It's actually something more. It's the camera angle. I didn't play long enough to give the game a first look or first impressions. That's not what this is. I just wanted to get a bit of footage, but I noticed that it just kind of had a weird slant to it, almost like your camera angle was a bit askew. It felt different from other games like this that utilize 2D, so just be prepared for that if you plan to give the game a shot. I really wanted to kind of shift the camera over to the right and change the whole perspective just a little bit. This next part is also why I'm maybe a little bit less interested. And it may be something that turns all of you off as well if the camera angle and the graphics aren't enough yet. The game has what some may consider pay for convenience or even pay to win. It's all a kind of market standard at this point, but I thought we should at least cover it. The game's monetization model appears to be free to play, with an optional subscription that's called Patron. Think Elder Scrolls Online. Patron status costs $7.99 a month for 30 days, $7.17 a month if you buy 180 days in advance, or $6.42 a month if you buy a full year in advance. Patron status grants you patron chat color and premium badge, who cares? Regenerate effort for your land at 3 times faster pace, which sounds a bit like labor points from Archage, but not quite as bad because it's limited to your land. Login move to the top of your queues, which I don't know that this game is going to have login queues, so maybe don't worry about that one. 50% reduced marketplace tax on your listing as they last 72 hours instead of 24. Faster gathering when successfully timing the gathering minigame. Additional bonus rewards for the North Star quests. This could be bad. Get rested experience. So basically like a workaround for a small XP bonus, the way it works in like Elder Scrolls Online with a 10% bonus. No longer pay a fee for waypoints. 2 hours of Ranger's Company cooldown instead of 4 hours. Able to unlock and wear T3 and higher cosmetics. And on top of that, you get a cosmetic companion like these. There is a lot that seems interesting about the game. Playing it for a bit, I couldn't shake the feeling that it both felt fully fleshed out and also like a browser game. It's definitely one I can see a lot of players really enjoying. I just don't think I'm personally one of those players. But I wanted to leave it to you because I'm not the one that would be playing it. You would be. So it's up to you if you want to give this game a try. It is launching in January of 2024 or has already launched depending on when you're watching this video. And it will be free to play, so you can just jump in and try it. Try it before buying the patron status at least. It is at least something a bit different in the genre. A 2D game, and we're going to be getting another one sometime soon, most likely in Mad World. So this is a kind of an idea of what we might be looking at some of these other MMOs that we might be getting in the next couple of years. But if you're looking at something a little bit more old school, a little bit more maybe gritty, then go ahead and check out Ultima Online Outlands, which I covered in this video right here. A private custom server that really reinvents a lot of what Ultima Online was by adding in custom content and quality of life features. My name is Redbird Flynn. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day.